Heyo everybody, welcome to another Family Flips Q&A where you guys send us questions and we don't read them. Ron, one of our managers, reads them and puts them in a little envelope for us to answer to you guys. And these questions are personal questions. So they're questions about our lives, about what we've chosen. I'm way more nervous to answer these questions than I was about the liquidation questions.
Getting personal.
All right, so here we go. You ready?
Yes.
You want to read the first one? Or you want me to?
It don't matter. You're way better at reading than I am.
All right.
That's a lot of questions.
I know. Let's see. All right. This one is from Chris. How did you two meet? Aww. Tell us your story on how you met and fell in love. I'm going to pass this question off to Joe because he tells this story so well.
So you know how you always hear, they're the person of my dreams, you know. He's the man of my dreams. She's the girl of my dreams. Actually, she is the girl that was in my dreams. For months and months, I don't know, probably 6-7 months before we met, which we met, I guess officially in like May, late May.
2015.
Of a long time ago. So like 6 or 7 months before that, I actually had dreams about a purple-headed girl. And I never saw her face, but in the dream we were always doing stuff, like we were like living life, right? So then, you know, we started going to the same church, and her hair was purple, but I just didn't connect the dots,
And I wanted it to be like a pinky lavendery, like a pinky color. It turned out darker than it was supposed to, but I loved it, so I kept it.
Yeah, and so I guess it was Memorial Day weekend of 2015. I was invited over to her house after church that day for like a little get-together, dinner, whatever, by Whitney and her friend Jennifer. I guess is my friend too, which Whitney works here, you know. So when I went over there and people were just sharing their testimonies and stuff, their stories, and I was sitting next to her. And she was telling her story. I was just like, oh my gosh, this is the girl that I've been dreaming about for a long time.
But let me tell you what I saw. I'm telling my story. Dude is sitting there with his eyes closed and his fists clenched. Yeah. And I'm like, why am I making him so angry?
I was trying not to hold her hand. And so that week, it was like, you know, I texted her on Facebook Messenger a little bit here and there. Really trying, like, I wanted to talk to her so bad, 'cause I'm like, oh my gosh, like, this is the girl, you know? And I
had no idea.
She had no idea. So it was her birthday that week on that Friday, and I had, you know, wrote in my journal, like, about her, you know, I had things that I would pray for, things that I felt God was showing me about her. I wrote these, like, letters
I still have
to
them.
her, even like way before we ever met. I don't know, it was like 3 or 4 letters that I wrote to her, and a lot of those things that she hadn't even, like, when I had wrote them, she hadn't even started doing those things yet. So it was like this magical thing. And I remember, like, one of my journal entries was like, send her flowers when I tell you to. So it was like that week, like, I'd found out it was her birthday, then I was like, send the flowers. So I ordered her flowers. I had them sent to her work.
And I always wanted flowers sent to work.
Yeah, so they're like, I don't know, what gladiolas, is that what they were?
Yeah.
These purple gladiolas, these flowers that I sent to her work. And
that's why they're here.
And so that night, you know, I went to her house and, you know, for her birthday, she had a little birthday thing. And I was just like, I want to be able to call you. Like, I never had a lot of confidence growing up, and like I never got like an actual girl's number, like myself.
I mean, he acted like he knew what he was doing.
You know, like in person, you know. It'd always been like through somebody else, but I was like, even my friend Jennifer, she tried to give me her phone number, and I'm like, I deleted it. I'm like, nope, I don't want it. So then Saturday, what Jessica will tell you was the day that I interviewed her for the position as wife. Because I did, you know, I had been married before, I had been divorced, And I wasn't like, so that night, my friend Jennifer, she had like a get together at her house, and we were both there. And we were sitting on the back deck just talking, sharing, us. I was interviewing his wife, as she would say. And she was like, oh, like this night has happened before.
You know that deja vu feeling? You're like, I've dreamed this or something before.
And so she'd always had this vision of this night where like the moon was traveling on the night sky. And that was happening right there in front of us. Like the vision that she had
like I would
was
say
happening.
Like I had a dream, and I was like, actually I remember like a point in the dream where it was peeking up from behind like a tree branch, and then not that long later the moon would fall behind a branch, and then I'd be like, and then there'd be a cloud that comes, and then it was a clear sky, but then all of a sudden there'd be a cloud that covered the moon for a little while. It was crazy. I was right. Like, this is not happening.
So I've been having dreams of this purple-headed girl. She has been having this vision of the moon this night for I don't know how long. And growing up, my dad's nickname for me was Moon. So we were married like 3 months later. And, it hasn't always been happily ever after, because, being married is probably more than you want, but this is me. Being married, I don't know, it always teaches me how prideful I can be. And I think that's where, if you've been in a relationship with anybody for long periods of time, relationships are tough. But that's a story, how we met. I will say that, it is happily ever after.
It's just not what the fairy tales say that it is. It's happily ever after, but it's always work. Yeah. And I wouldn't have it any other way, really.
Yeah. So.
Harold S.
Yep. First question is, if each of you had to do something else, another career, what would it be? And there's other questions as well.
Actually, that's a hard one. I really loved being a preschool teacher. I will say that. I think I would want to do something like that. Or probably maybe like a mental health therapist. I think I would do really well with.
Yeah, I have no idea. I couldn't really imagine doing anything else. I worked in the corporate world. I was very successful in all of that, but it was death to me at the same time. Whatever it would be, it would have to be for myself. I love the freedom. Not that I don't want to be controlled, but I want the freedom to just be. Like, I want to, whatever it is that I'm doing, it's not the control that I need. It's just the freedom to do and to be myself and allow myself to be in a position or situation that I feel like is going to make me most successful. Growing up, I didn't know I had ADHD until the last, 9 months. And knowing that, like, this career, this job, with how it has really allowed me to thrive in a lot of ways because of that. So I don't know what it would be. It would just have to be owning my own business. And then what business that would be, like, I really can't imagine myself doing anything else because I truly enjoy what I'm doing. Like, I love this. It's hard, don't get me wrong, but I love it.
Yeah, so, he does really thrive in this kind of environment for sure.
Second question is who do each of you think is the funny one? It's a tough question. We are both uniquely, individually funny. I have a very dry sense of humor, and depending on who you talk to, like, oh, well, Joe's funnier. And then Jessica's very bubbly. She's quirky. She has these funny, like, she's just happy energy. Like, some people would be like, she's the funny one. But I would say I think she is the more fun one because she really brings the fun out in me. I can get very serious by myself, and some of you who've watched us in vlogs and stuff, or me doing unboxings by myself, like, they're way more fun when they're with Jessica because I'm doing life and those things with my best friend, and she is fun to hang out with. So can't say who's the funnier one. She is the most fun one.
But he has better one-liners, I will say that.
Yes.
His one-liners are pretty good.
Yes.
But I'm the funnier one. I think overall, we can all agree I'm the funnier one.
Yeah. Happy wife, happy life. She's the funny one. Final question is, how do you know it's time to take a break and get away to reset and stay on your toes?
Do you guys want the honest truth?
There's 2 different answers.
Yeah. The honest truth for me is that my body will tell me. So I have learned over the years, really over the last maybe 4 or 5 years, that there is a very, I don't want to sound like kooky, but this is the truth. Okay. So the truth is that I know that my mental health, my physical health, and my spiritual health are all connected. And when one of them is out of alignment, then the other ones start to fall. And sometimes it's hard to tell when the first thing has fallen out until you start feeling the symptoms in the other areas of your life. When I start to feel that slip, I used to try to push through it. And then I used to try to just ignore it and just hope it wouldn't go away and like scramble to cover it up and all those kinds of things. And I've learned that doesn't work. It just makes things a lot worse. The first thing I do is I tell Joe, hey, I just want you to know that I am feeling this. I am feeling like, I'm feeling exhausted. This is what's happening in my body. This is what's happening in my head, and those kinds of things. Immediately what ends up happening is I try to work out a time where I can spend by myself. And that might be drinking a cup of tea and reading a book for an hour. It might be going and seeing if a friend would come have dinner with me, or something. And if that doesn't work, then there's something even more going on. And then I just kind of, okay, well, do I need more time? Do I need more discipline? Do I need more something else? What is it that I need? And I just kind of play around, and I try not to wait until I'm like on the verge of mental breakdown, which used to happen in the past, and it's just not productive. And then it makes me feel like crap. It makes me feel like I'm a terrible, awful person. And that's just not the truth. It's just that I'm missing something and I don't know what it is, and I have to find out what that is. So that, for me, it's when something is going on and then I start feeling symptoms, either like if my mental health is kind of struggling, and then I start feeling physical symptoms like fatigue and lack of motivation, and sometimes my stomach will just be upset real bad, or things like that. So that's what I look for.
I don't know what the question is. I don't like, for me, that's a very complex and difficult question to answer.
But it's a good one. It's a good one.
I don't know if I could honestly answer that question, to be honest with you, because I don't know, honestly. I don't know if I know when it's time to take a break, just because I'm a go person as a provider, somebody who owns a business, who has 9 employees, which means there's 9 families that it's not my responsibility to look over them, but at the same time, the success of our business directly affects other people's lives. And then the fact that where this is kind of, it's like, when I say I love what I do, I love this. A lot of people, they need hobbies to keep themselves happy because they don't like their job. This is my hobby. It's a lot of things. That's why it's very hard for me. But I would say, stress levels, being short-tempered, those things. But then on top of that, I make things very complex, because then it's okay, well, maybe I'm just eating crap food. Maybe I'm not getting the physical exercise I need, so my body is not responding the way it needs to. And I think, oh, I need a break. But in actuality, no, I need to eat right. My diet sucks the last couple of weeks, or maybe I'm staying up too late watching TV for too much and I'm not getting the rest I need. So then I think that I need a break, but no, I just need discipline. I need to go to bed earlier, get the rest I need. And then I need to eat better, because if I do those things, I'm going to feel better. And then I don't really know when I need breaks. You know what I mean? But I love to go camping. I love to do those things. As soon as the weather gets warm outside, I'm going to be going camping, hopefully 2 times a month, 2 weekends. So for me, I don't really know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's why it's not an easy thing for me, because I really love what I do. like, I love this. Like the YouTube, the business, the employees, the customers, getting the stuff in the bins and digging through pallets. Like, I thoroughly enjoy this. I don't think y'all really understand. Like, I love this. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, we're already 15 minutes in. No, I'm just trying to think of strategy.
Let's just go quickly. Like,
right.
answer these questions a little bit faster. Let's see. Robin E. What is the one thing that would surprise most of us to know about you? I mean, the first thing that came to mind is that I'm a complete and utter mess, just like everybody else. I struggle a lot with the persona that I have to put on YouTube and on Facebook and all of those things. I struggle a lot with that because I feel like it's not all of me, but also I can't give all of me to everyone. Whereas, you know, Robin, I may be able to tell you and say, you know, and really talk and get really deep with you, whereas somebody else may not know what to do with that, and they may take it wrong, or they may, you know, whatever. And I'm not really worried about what other people think about me, but I'm worried about what people will do with that information. And so I think ultimately, like, one thing I do want people to know about is, like, I'm still trying to figure everything out just like everybody else.
I think for me, it's I come across as very big and boisterous and loud, but I'm actually a very the words went by.
He's a big softy.
Gentle.
He is.
Sensitive individual. Like, I feel things deeply. Like, my feelings get hurt. I often feel misunderstood. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I think that would be something, you know, one of the things.
Out of the two of us, he would be the first to give you your shirt, the shirt off his back.
Yeah.
He would do it without even thinking. And people don't know that about him.
Yeah.
Trisha B says, how often do you go on date nights, and where do you typically go? We try to go on date nights as often as possible.
Yeah, in the past, we haven't been very good about this. You know, my ADHD and my, you know, pre-medication. I talk about that a lot, but that's, you know, it is what it is.
It's a big part of his life right now, so, yeah.
You know, before medication, I would get extreme hyperfocus. And I would often hyperfocus on work or things, you know, things that weren't truly important. So I didn't take Jessica on the amount of dates that I wanted to, you know. But I know that we've made a dedicated, conscious effort. You know, we're at least once a month. You know, we have 3 kids.
It's hard.
And there's not a lot of places where they can go and, you know, babysit for hours or have sleepovers. But at least once a month, I know this week we're getting 2 date nights in a row.
And I'm really excited about it.
Which is super exciting.
But really and honestly, if we had to choose where we would go, we would stay home. We would order in, we would get in comfy clothes, and we would, like, right now we're watching Suits at night together. We would do that. We're not huge on, like, spending that kind of money to go to the movies or buying, like, extravagant dinners. Like, neither of us are really into that. We really just want to be able to be comfortable and hang out together, which is the whole point. So really, we're a stay-in kind of couple. But that doesn't mean that Saturday night he's not going to take me out to dinner, because I told him that that's what he was doing.
Right.
And he's fine with that.
Exactly.
Ella, this is a question for me. Jessica, I love your style, the hair, the clothes, the makeup. Where did you get your fashion sense from, and where do you get your clothes? The fashion sense is I wear what I like. I think for me, it is, I wear a lot of black simply because it matches everything, and I like the color. And it is a lot easier for me to get dressed when I know that all of my clothes matches all the time. I try not to go too extravagant on the clothing because my body style changes. Before I had our oldest daughter, I was probably 115 pounds soaking wet. And then I had Jolene, and then I went down, and my average weight was probably like 125. So my body got wider. I had wider hips and everything to accommodate the baby. And then with my 2 back-to-back pregnancies, it knocked a lot of hormones and things out of balance because it was 2 very quick pregnancies and I was breastfeeding. So right now my average weight is about 155, which is not terrible. I went down when I had by the time I had Lucas, I was 205 pounds. And now I'm down to 155, between 155 and 165. So what I'm looking for when I buy clothing is usually clothing that I like, things that are really easy for me to put on, that I don't have to like plan my outfits a lot. And then also something that accommodates like my fluctuating weight that happens, because when I work out, I gain muscle, then I look leaner. But then if I, right now I'm in a period where I'm not working out that much. And so my body changes and I need something that's going to accommodate that because I don't have time to be buying wardrobe stuff. Where do I get my clothes? From the bins. That's where I get them, or I make shirts for the family flips and I wear them as part of my uniform. But Joe buys my clothes, honestly. He knows what I like. He's been with me long enough to know what I feel confident in. And that's the sweet thing about Joe that I love, is that he can tell when I'm confident in my clothing and when I'm not. And then he goes and he finds clothes that he thinks that I would be confident in, and he's usually right.
Plus, I like the grungy look. She's always liked the grungy look.
I've always been a
I
little
like
grungy.
the grungy look. It just, All right. From Sherry, says, for Joe and Jessica, who do you want to play you in the Family Flips, the movie? Ryan Reynolds.
Michelle Rodriguez.
I don't know, just Ryan. He's got like that, dry sense of humor in a lot of ways, very sarcastic. And he's good looking, just like me.
I would choose Michelle Rodriguez because she is like bad to the bone, and like I know that I'm like a really bubbly and everything person, but I will fight a battle if I have to. And I love the way that she fights battles. I mean, like, come on, Fast and the Furious, Resident Evil, like, come on now, like,
Yeah.
Yes. So
I don't think I'm attractive like Ryan Reynolds. He's gorgeous,
I think you're attractive.
But I know I'm not ugly.
Okay,
But I'm not Ryan Reynolds either.
we got one last question. Aw. Jim L asks, if heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates? And I would say the one thing that I would want to hear him say is, well done, my good and faithful servant.
I was thinking the same thing, but mine was like, well done, my son.
I would want to have pleased him in this life enough that the first thing he says to me is that he loves me and he approves me and he thinks I did a good job.
Yeah, that I was willing to live a life that took risk and chances to glorify him and all that I did, and that I was never afraid to not do anything because I didn't want to disappoint him. So I live a life with risk, and I live courageously, taking risk, loving people, trying these business. We wouldn't be in it without him,
Yeah.
So well done, my son.
That's what I would want to hear more than anything. I'm like tearing up. I'm trying not to.
Right?
Yeah, but that's what I would want more than anything. And everything I do in this life is so that I could live a life that he would be able to say that to me. So
Yeah.
we hope you have enjoyed this. They were pretty personal questions.
Yeah.
I appreciated those. If you have more of those, make sure you put them down in the comments and we will be sure to address them. But let us know what you think about these kinds of videos. I think they're good. They're little conversation starters and everything like that. So that's awesome. And we thank you guys so much. Until next time.
Peace.